Welcome back, adventurers. Today, we're diving deep into the powerful water spirit magic. From manipulating water and ice to devastating your foes with deadly poison and powerful projectiles, this element offers versatility and power through large AoE spells and deadly single target attacks. Plus, we'll meet the water elementals, the aqua frogs, and the Undine, each bringing unique abilities to enhance your combat strategy, from swift mobility and poison to elegant yet devastating weapon-based attacks. Water magic is tiered based on the spirit you summon, starting with the lesser water spirit and progressing to medium and greater water spirits. Each tier unlocks new spells, and higher tier spirits grant access to all lower level abilities. Now let's explore each spell by tier. So first of all, we have the lesser water magic, water. This spell is simply put going to just spawn in a water block. This was kind of a poor choice of Narina. It's just going to spawn in a water block, or if there is already a water block, it's going to turn it back into ice. Or in this case, it's just going to turn everything into water because I have a lot of ice. But as you can see, you can freely manipulate the water between its two states in Minecraft, which are liquid and solid. You can also do that anywhere else, except for unless you have ice below it, because at that point it's just going to create a small lake. With Mastery, casting is instant, letting you adapt quickly to any situation, while also letting you very quickly spam out a lot of water or a lot of ice, depending on your needs. Next up is the medium water magic, Water Cutter. Now this is going to send out a small projectile, like a water blade, which just simply deals 30 damage. The casting time is 5 seconds, which when mastered goes down to 0 with chant annulment, or to something very small with thought acceleration. Next up, we have Acid Rain. And Acid Rain is going to summon in a rain cloud above you, which is going to damage all nearby enemies. It works in a pretty large AoE, so it's good against large groups of enemies. Fortunately, it has no single target projectile, but it's still a very useful spell that doesn't have that high of a cost. And with Mastery, the rain's range expands and it becomes faster to cast, making it a very good choice for crowd control against weaker enemies. Then next up, we have the Greater Water Magic. Blizzard is a spell that takes quite a long time to cast. In this case, it's 8 seconds, but as I've said, it can be shortened through different abilities. Now, it's going to spawn in a blizzard storm that is centered around you and moves with you. It deals 30 damage, I think that's physical, and then 30 damage that is of the water element. And if you look at a target and you click on the button again, you can send out very powerful ice projectiles which deal 225 damage. Look at that. Absolutely insane damage. And you can do that as long as the spell is being cast. Now, if it's taking too much magicules, once again, you can just crouch and then use the skill use button again to stop the casting. And then next up, we have Megido. Megido has 2 different modes, and it's one of the most devastating water spells. Like the previous spells, it follows a similar formula. It has a wide AoE attack, but this time it also has a single target mode, which in my opinion is very useful. Now the auto target is going to it's going to spawn in clouds above you, like water, well, not water cloud, it's just going to spawn like a very large water cloud above you, and it's going to shoot down very, very powerful beams at all neutral or unfriendly enemies in the vicinity. I'm gonna spawn in a bunch of direwolves, but also a bunch of other rollers and more direwolves. And then once we turn on auto target and the 7 seconds pass, you're going to see how powerful the spell truly is. Now it's worth noting that this spell won't work underground or in any dimension that doesn't have a sun, plus it has to be day. Look at that, instant damage, and it also goes between enemies, so it goes from one enemy to the other. Look at that, so much damage. It also is quite expensive, and it costs 200, I believe, magicules for each shot, but it honestly is so worth it. And then next up we have the other mode, which is called single target. It also takes 7 seconds to cast, but it allows you to choose who you will shoot. So it doesn't shoot anything, it spawns a cloud above you, which does once again follow you, and then you can choose who to shoot by using this skill use button and choose your target. Deals 150 damage per hit. It does have a small 1 second cooldown in between, but it honestly is more than enough to kill basically anything except for the strongest of bosses. And the same with any other consistent casting spell. You can just crouch, use the skill button again to have the cloud disappear and not follow you around. Now if you're not seeing it, I would suggest going into your settings and then increasing entity view distance, I believe. Next up are the water elementals. The medium elemental of the water type is the aqua frog, and once again, very, very pretty summoning circle. It spawns in with 50 HP and around 6,000 to 7,000 magicules. Now, if you do find it in the wild and you name it, it's going to have a lot more HP once you actually name it. I endowed these, that's why they're so powerful. But even as a summon, the aqua frog is very useful because A, it looks cool. It can jump. It can also shoot fatal poison projectiles, which deal around 20 to 30 damage, and also inflict fatal poison on the target, which is, in my opinion, one of the best status effects in Tensura. So it's strong, but it's not the strongest. Obviously, we have the greater elemental, Sylphid. Now, the Sylphid is like not Sylphid. My bad. We have the Undyne. And the Undyne, like the other elementals in Tensura Reincarnated, outside of the Beast Gnome, can fly. They can also equip weapons, so we can put these 2 swords in, and then have it absolutely destroy this other roller. But very high damage. Now, like the other elementals, it has an immunity to its own element, which is water. And it also has physical attack resistance, which means that once you hit it, even if you hit it with something like a sword, it's not gonna do basically any damage. Which in my opinion is one of the most useful things about these spirits. And like with any other spirit, it also uses it uses a lot of different spiritual attacks, like this massive we'll call it a water projectile, which also inflicts fatal poison, but also things like the water blades. I believe it can also cast Blizzard. I just don't think I've ever seen it use it. It has this little explosion. It will also stay there for around 5 minutes until it eventually either runs out of energy or gets killed. But luckily for you, you can just instantly summon it again afterwards. Now, like with the other elementals, if they're being annoying or they're using way too much energy, what you can do is you can just crouch and then use the skill button key for the greater elemental summoning to cut off its energy source and instantly kill it. This I would mostly recommend if it's being too annoying or you just don't have the energy to support it. Anyways, that was it for today. I want to thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you again in my next video, which will be about the Earth element and the Earth elementals. So I hope you have a nice day, and I will see you then. Goodbye.